Hello everyone and welcome to another high-elo game of Age of Empires. Today I'm wondering if the world has gotten more and more annoying and aggravating, or if it's just me who's getting older and older and more curmudgeonly as I sit down to watch Mihai playing as the Burgundians in teal take on Running, playing as the Tatars in red. Now all the players heard their herdables explore their immediate and closed-off surroundings, because if you look at the bottom of your screen, or in fact if you look at the screen itself, you'll notice that we are on Arena. And therefore, as the players rush their butts up to Feudal, probably Castle Age ASAP, a good time for us to look at the Civ matchup we'll be watching today. Now, the Burgundians, the John Belushi coked out SNL Day oddball civilization with some of the craziest features and upgrades in the entire game. Militarily, they do focus on their cavalry being the only civ in the game to get cavaliers in the Castle Age, and their unique unit, the Coustelier, is a medium cavalry shock unit that has a charge attack where every 40 seconds a massive plus 20 or plus 25 is added to its attack. Now, to support their cavalry on the field of battle, Burgundian gunpowder units do come with 25% more attack, and they have access to a second unique unit, the Flemish Militiaman. This is a medium infantry unit with a pretty good attack bonus against cavalry, which might spell bad news bears for our Tatar. Now, if that's still not enough cavalry military on the whole for you, well, then the Burgundians can conscript their entire civilian population. Each and every villager can get turned into a Flemish militiaman, and allowing even more Flemish militia to be trained out of their barracks. Now, in order to pay for this expensive war machine, Burgundian stable techs are 50% cheaper. Their relics generate food in addition to gold, which means the usual three-part meta on Arena where the players fight over the relics becomes a little bit more significant. In this case, they get all economic upgrades available in Age earlier and cheaper, and their farmers can be upgraded to generate a small amount of gold while they till their fields. Think Vietnamese paper money, where their lumberjacks generate gold, except those very, very ripe Burgundian fields and farms also generate a little bit of gold income. Pivoting to the eastern part of the map, where we've got Running in red playing as the Tatars, a civilization that does whatever the heck it can to push players towards mounted units. Their cav archers come with extra line of sight. They get Parthian tactics and thumb ring for free, and some of their mounted units can be upgraded to get even more armor. I'm looking at you, scout cav line units, step lancers, and cav archers. Now, their first unique unit is the Keshik, a medium cavalry unit that actually generates gold every time it pokes and prods its enemy opponent, which can come in very useful in the late game because gold gets more and more scarce while raiding becomes more and more frequent. Now, once you're out on the battlefield, your army is ready to engage. Very important for the Tatars to take the higher ground, because instead of the usual 25% more damage that units do in Age of Empires, the Tatars do 50% more damage, and this becomes even more important in the later stages once trebs start popping out, because the Tatars can upgrade their trebs to have +2 extra range, which means a fully upgraded Tatar treb comes with a massive 19 tiles of range. Now, I'm not too sure. I'm going to zoom out real quick, because on Arena, unless there's some high ground hidden in these gorgeous autumnal, I believe, oaks. Yeah, they are. There is generally no high ground. So the Tatar bonus, a little bit wasted in this case, although Timorid Siegecraft, never a bad upgrade to get, giving your trebs an insane amount of range. Now, in order to feed their hungry cavalry-based army, the Tatar herdables, these Piggly Wigglies, do contain 50% more food, and starting in Castle Age, every time there's a new town center, it comes with 2 free sheep, which, with the additional 50% of food, means 300 food for free for every single town center, similar to the Lithuanians, although the Lithuanians get it automatically 100 food for every town center. They don't actually have to kill and slaughter the pig and turn it into delicious, I don't know what, prosciutto or pepperoni or chorizo or any other kind of cured meat that can hang on the wall and then taste delicious. Apologies to any vegetarians watching this. Sorry, but some meat is just too delicious to pass up the analogies and descriptions. Let's take a look. The important thing on Arena is a few things. Number one, internal resources. Where are they located, and how far away are they from the gates and the walls? Because that makes laming them very, very easy or very, very impossible. In this case, stone is a little bit exposed, but not terribly placed. Primary gold for our Burgundian, nowhere close to being able to being at risk. additional secondary gold. Where the primary resources? Okay, speaking of safe, our Tatar, both the primary resources nice and safe to the back. Additional gold nowhere close to the walls as well. And as usual, everyone starts the map with a little bit of gold, a little bit of stone outside of their initial walls. In this case, we've got our Burgundian with stone to the left, gold to the right. And in my opinion, an important thing to look at is where the wall offs are interrupted by these, I guess in this case, a dead winter tree and a bit of shrubbery. What are you? You are bush C. Okay, we've seen bush A, we've seen bush B. Now we're getting a glimpse at bush C, which in the beginning of the game is fantastic because this creates a nice impenetrable wall off until you hit Imperial Age. I would say normally if we're watching a Khmer or a Khmer game, with the ballista elephants being the only units that can cut through these forests in Castle Age. But until Imperial Age, these players are nice and safe. But once Imperial Age hits and onagers start coming out, then, yeah, those aren't safe at all. You do not need siege onagers. And both of these are actually, these are two civs don't have siege onagers, but they do have regular onagers, which might make this a bit of a problem for Mihai and might make this a bit of a problem for running. Although we'll see what the players, how they decide to engage. For now, interesting, both of them off the back of exactly 25 villagers. Mihai with a tiny little bit of TC idle time means that he is going up 9 seconds or so behind his opponent, maybe 10 seconds or so behind his opponent. I'm assuming they both have skipped Loom at this stage of the game. Yeah, they have. Not exactly the Goths with Loom being researched immediately. And so both players deciding to skip it, no real point in getting that upgrade at the moment, especially since you're behind stone gates with 1800 HP. Now, usual meta on Arena, while the players hit Feudal, Blacksmith, and a stable for one player, Blacksmith, and the usual market for the other player. And that basically means that once these structures are complete, Mihai just needs a little bit of gold and food, whereas our Tatar has exactly the amount of resources needed. So once this completes, immediately Castle Age for him. Mihai still needs 10 food, 3 food, gets it, and goes up. Okay, again, about 10 seconds behind his opponent. So not the end of the world. Generally on Arena, we are approaching the end of phase 1 of 3 phases of the game. In the first phase, everyone rushes their butts up to the next 2 ages to Castle Age. Once Castle Age is reached, phase 1 is over, phase 2 begins. Players plop down a monastery somewhere in the forward or middle position of their bases. Later on, they might move the relics back depending on whether or not they are taking any kind of heat from their opponent. But initially, monasteries generally popping up pretty close to the wall off, so the monks, the not exactly the quickest moving unit in the game, can have easy access to these relics. And then they start fighting over the relics. Now, a little bit of an advantage here to our Burgundian, who already has a stable out, whereas I don't think our Tatar... No, never mind. Okay, our Tatar also has a stable. Oh, did I say blacksmith? My apologies. I think I said blacksmith instead of a stable. So they both actually have stables, which means they'll start pumping out scouts. Hopefully they upgrade them to light cavalry, and then the players start fighting over these gravity physics-defying relics that seems like the what's the legend of Arthur with the stone, the sword in the stone. No unit in the world can lift this except the monk. At least in this matchup, we're not looking at the Armenians with the warrior priest, but ignore that part for the sake of artistic license. Only the monk can lift this relic, and even though it is made out of pure gold and therefore must weigh a shiitake mushroom tons worth of weight, a frail old man in sandals, already carrying a book and a crook, seems to be the only person in the world, in the Age of Empires world, who can carry this gravity-defying relic. Ark of the Covenant is being lowered into the monastery to the left. Monastery up, already for our Tatar. Man, I love the Tatar monasteries with that domed roof. It is so pretty. But now, let's see. One monk being trained for both players, a spearman being added to our for our Burgundian rather. And so once the players start fighting and end the fight over these relics, then phase 3 of the game begins, where they begin building their big armies and clashing them like we all used to do as little kids. First kill of the game at the 16.5-minute mark goes to our Burgundian, who slays with no remorse the scout cavalry unit of his opponent, and then gets the hell out of there, sees maybe he didn't see the monk, but suspects that a monk should be coming. I think he must have seen the monastery. Yeah, he's seen the monastery. Has Running seen his opponent's monastery? No, because Mihai has placed it a little bit further back, although it's a pretty damn good guess that your opponent's going to have a monastery at the moment. Light cavalry for our Burgundian, still scouts for our Tatar. No surprise there. Burgundians, because their stable techs are 50% cheaper, generally are the first ones to hit the better units out of the stable. And by that, I also mean Paladin, if we're lucky enough to see Paladins, although the 50% off discount of technology does come at a price. They don't have bloodlines, which makes their Paladin just about as good / shitty as the Celtic Paladin, which I always like to mention, because I caught an endless amount of flack once on a live stream when I said that the Celtic Paladin wasn't terrible. And then everyone reminded me that it did not come with any kind of bloodlines, and so it capped out at 160 HP, which made it not great. But oh, look at this. Well, I'm blabbing on about a civilization that's not even in front of us. Mihai teefs the relic right from underneath the very nose of his opponent, who sees it with the line of sight of the monk. But will he make it home? Will he make it home? Maybe this was purposeful. Yeah, that must have been on purpose by Running. Or maybe not, I don't know. I'm just reading into things here. He's trying to convert a scout, but fantastic 200 gold down the shitter for our Burgundian, although he has moved the relic about 15 tiles closer to his base. Light Cav taking on Scout Cav. Tatar has to be very careful here. He is his unit is not the better unit. Look at the difference in stats. 15 more HP, 2 extra attacks, speed is better, armor the same, 0, as yet another Tatar scout bites the dust. And where are the monks from the players? We got an additional monk to the forward position here. Actually, let's make sure I am not missing any kills, as sometimes does happen in Cast of Empires. You guys know. Or if you don't know, welcome to the channel. And one thing you'll notice is that I sometimes miss kills. That's why we do picture-in-picture here. I love that our Tatar keeps moving these units back. A converted Light Cav does ultimately die. And now he's left with only scouts again. But I like the maneuvering here out of Running to constantly bring back. Now, why is he being so hesitant? His monk hasn't stepped a single foot outside of his original settlement, which means that our Burgundian now returning home with that relic. And by the way, has another relic right here. Mihai has seen 3 of the last 4 relics. The last one is in this gray dead zone that he has not explored. Although these scouts, these Light Cav, look like they are moving. Maybe not. Maybe not. Running has seen all 4 remaining relics. Mihai leaving a protective guard here. Another monk bites the dust. I mean, the Burgundians, it's important for them to get the relics just because, again, they do generate food in addition to gold, just like for the Aztecs, who get 33% more gold from their relics. It becomes a little bit more important, but when you start losing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of bars of gold just to get a few relics, he's only at 1 relic. And it looks like Running is making no attempt to go after the relics. So my 3-part meta be damned. Our Tatar is going up to 4 town centers. Why is he going up to 4 town centers? Is he planning a big, juicy push? Is he planning a fast Imperial? Mihai's got more food. He's now getting that second relic, which has disappeared off our minimap, telling us that it is on its way to the monastery. There it is. Past all of these gold mining, these hardworking villagers who just want to have an honest living at the gold mine. Another monk. That's 400 gold. I like that our Tatar has finally upgraded his scouts to Light Cav, which means they only need 2 attacks to kill the monk instead of the 3 of a scout. Mihai patrolling with that 1 remaining spearman. Our Tatar, 600 food, 330 gold. I would say he's rushing to Imperial, but I don't really see it at the moment. Now he's getting bloodlines. Now he's getting forging. Is he plopping down any more stables? How many is he going up to? 3 stables. Okay. I'm not going to try to predict anything, but I mean, Step Lancers. That's a... Believe me or not, I was about to say, are we going to get to see Step Lancers with silk armor? They are a little bit tankier than usual. Although against against the Burgundians? May not be a bad idea, actually. Snow Leopard gets activated, chasing that Spearman. Oh no, things are about to get a whole lot worse here for Teal if Red... Oh, Red stops just a little short and doesn't notice what's happening here. And look at this. Leopard attacking the Spearman. Spearman getting healed by the Monk. An invincible Spearman takes on Mother Nature and will win in the battle of the slow, ineffective poking. And silly me, it's actually our Burgundian who's heading up to Imperial first. Off the back of 3 town centers, 75 villagers, so 13 fewer villagers. Army count kind of similar. So Mihai playing more of the standard 3-part meta as he goes around the map collecting relics, but our Tatar, I see he's added another stable here. No, maybe he's not going Step Lancer. He's only got 2 of them. Have they revealed themselves to the Burgundian is the real question. So far, not yet. Our Burgundian, tell me he's going Paladin. He's got the resources for it, I believe. Or at least we'll have them once he hits Imperial. I see he's slowly making his way up the left side of the map with that 3rd relic. So he's going to have 3rd relic, or rather 3 relics. He's guarding a 4th. The 5th one is here in the middle of no man's land. Nobody's laying claim to that one. And now he's revealed the Step Lancer. That +1 range on them, making them super deadly, making it hard to wall off against them. But we'll see how effective he actually is as yet another monk gets gunned down. What is that, 5 monks? 500 gold. We'll see at the end of the day how many gold bars these relics generate for our Burgundian to see if it was all actually worth it. This is not a fight either of these units want to take. Who's kidding who? I don't really know who wins here. Okay, Spearman wins. Called it. Okay, I said he's going to have 3 relics as another monk moves very slowly. And all of a sudden, Mihai House is down in army and in civilian population. And his opponent is going Step Lancers. Our Tatar is going Step Lancers, but we're getting Paladins for our Burgundian. We are going to get to see Tatar Step Lancers with extra armor. Why do I feel like he canceled Imperial Age and then started it? Or did he just start it? What am I missing? I'm missing, luckily didn't miss, a dead red scout. Oh my god, a dead red monk killed by a teal scout. And now Red, is he going to go back and get it? So Mihai will hit Paladin almost immediately after his opponent hits Imperial. And so for a little bit, he's going to be facing Lycav and Step Lancers with a unit that has 160 HP. And gonna have a +2 attack. Step Lancer chases, may not want to chase into here. Okay, that is a one-way trip for him. Mihai sees the castle. It is our Tatar who is first out onto the map. Although, I mean, I say that he's getting silk armor and he's gone up to 18 Step Lancers. I don't know, that 7, maybe, you know what, 14 Paladins against that Step Lancer count is not bad. And Mihai, seeing the castle, says, you know what, I like that idea. The rush distance between the 2 bases, by the way, is incredibly tiny. Now everyone is in Imperial. Will a Treb pop out? Of course a Treb is popping out for running. Who is now setting up, oh, look at this. When's the last time we saw this? Gold and stone right next to one another. This is like a, I don't know if anyone outside of North America will understand this reference, but a KFC Taco Bell right next to one another. They're usually found adjacent in the same immediate same stall inside the food court. And now we've got an almost kind of but not really fully upgraded Paladin against 37 seconds away the elite Step Lancers. But he catches a Treb. Will he get it, or will the Step Lancers get him first? A whole bunch of these Paladins aren't attacking shit. And he gets the Treb, but now he's stuck in here with a unit that stacks. And man, have we seen when the Step Lancers stack. Oh, it is just not good news for whoever is fighting them. But the Paladins are dishing it out as good as they're getting. Now the Step Lancer's up to a massive 100 HP. It looks like Mihai got a bit of a bloody nose, but took down a bunch of light cavalry to the south here as well, as his forces get overwhelmed. And they have to get the hell out of here. Oh, will he notice the monk? Will he notice the monk? Will he go after the monk? That is a suicide mission for the monk. He sees the villagers, does not go after the monk. And so it looks like it's going to be 3 relics to 2 in favor of our Burgundian, who has created an interesting little nook for himself. Unfortunately, has placed the Treb right next to the gate, which means the Step Lancers can attack this Treb. This one not. The Bombard Cannon as well is nice and safe. And the Tatar Castle falls. But we're going up to 45 Elite Step Lancers. Their attack-wise, fully upgraded armor, not great, even though he does have Silk Armor, which adds a +1/+1. Bombard's doing what Bombards do, which is blowing up villagers. But in 19 seconds, these Paladins are going to be fully upgraded. I don't know that they can necessarily take this fight, though. They are seriously outnumbered here. Treb, confused, doesn't know what the hell to do now that it's taken down the castle. And yet again, a choke point. Why is our Burgundian taking a fight against a unit that stacks in a choke point? Is he hoping that this castle with 8 villagers inside is going to provide enough arrow fire to cover his Paladins? So far, the Paladins are getting absolutely rickety wrecked here as a bunch of Step Lancers go after the Treb. I thought these Paladins to the right were going to go after the Treb here to the south, but no, they do not. They are busy doing damage control behind his own wall off. Oh man, things look very even for a while with Mihai's Paladin count, but all of a sudden he's down half the army count. But the one big question mark that is always there when you're playing against the Burgundian is he going to press the button? Is he gonna call the revolution? Right now he's not calling shit with 9 gold and 40 food. It is not a cheap upgrade, and now in addition to the base cost, which is kind of cheap, I think, for the Burgundians, I want to say 200 food, 150 gold. I want to say that. But in addition to that, it also costs 10 food and 5 gold for every single villager. So 140 villagers is 1,400 food and then 700 gold in addition to the base cost. So it is not a cheap upgrade or technology, or I guess not really an upgrade. It's technology. I guess you do upgrade your villagers. But it does also give you the ability to train Flemish militia out of your barracks. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Flemish militia comes with a +8 attack bonus against cavalry, which against the Step Lancers, which have only 100 HP, yeah, that's not good news. So I'm wondering if Mihai here, he is going up to a ridiculous 147, 152 actually villagers. Bit of a lull, a bit of a cessation in the activity here as these Paladins catch out these gold miners, stone miners. What were they? No, stones intact. So they were gold miners. And now the Paladin decides to come back. Might as well go after these villagers now. No, he's going after the Treb. No, he doesn't see the Treb. He sees it now. But oh yeah, okay. One Paladin stands in the face of this red tide of Step Lancer death. And oh my god, 67 Step Lancers. Mihai. Okay, I'm glad he's investing in fortified wall and pikemen, but how many barracks does he have? 8 barracks. At this point, you're 1,200 wood. Add 3 or 4 more. You'd need it. Step Lancers is one of those units where a traditional cavalry counter, like a pikeman or a halberdier even, doesn't do quite as well just because of the stackability. There's a few units in the game, like I like to mention, the Persian War Elephant, for example, the Lithuanian Latus, and the Elite Step Lancer. Still takes the 32 bonus damage, but the stackability of this unit is just what makes it so powerful. Its base attack is not that high at 11 compared to the 14 of the Paladin, and its HP isn't the highest. But what it does have is the ability to attack multiple lines at once. And look at how pretty this is. But where are you going? This guy didn't get the memo. He just got caught up in it. Got caught up in the spirit of revolution. As all of these villagers temporarily get repurposed to build a house. It looks like red is pushing back these Paladins now. Now I'm starting to worry a little bit for our Burgundian, who is going Burgundian Vineyards with 62 villagers. Not bad. Not a bad upgrade to get at the moment with 62, 61 farmers. And yet again, in a choke point against a unit that stacks. I hate to sound like a broken record, but I mean, it's hard not to when the players keep doing the same thing over and over again. This time there's a few halberdiers here to the back. They're trying to get into the Tatar lines. We've got 3 separate battles in a vertical position. The Tatar is overwhelming to the north. He's overwhelming to the south. to the center, rather, to the south. He loses his trebs. So these paladins have done a great job here to the south. But it was not a free get. The paladin count has been knocked down to 8, whereas the step lancer, he's going up to 102 step lancers. That is just about as unstoppable as you can get in this kind of matchup, unless you call that revolution. And Mihai is nowhere close to being able to call that revolution. Again, 10 food per villager. He's got 133 and 5 gold. In addition to that, 350 resource base cost. Step Lancer, amidst all of the carnage, 0 kills, is taking down a house, or trying to take down a house. Our Tatar, both players were at 200 population. All of a sudden, our Tatar still there with 75 Step Lancers. And Mihai is nowhere close. His army count is not terrible. He's getting arson. Why? I'm not too sure what he's planning on doing with these halberdiers. But you need double the count of your opponent if you're going to go up against Step Lancers. I don't know that these halberdiers can necessarily get the job done, although there's 57 of them. And so getting the job done might mean multiple progressive waves of these halberdiers before they clash. Let's see how many barracks he still has. Okay, he's up to 9. Which is not bad. He added 1 more. Would love to see a bunch more, though. He's at 2,400 wood. Plop down 10 more barracks. Who cares? This can't be the only wave. These Step Lancers are going to shred these halberdiers. And the halberdiers know if they run away, they're just trying to keep these 2 castles firing. The one to the left, the one to the right. All of them are firing on these Step Lancers. But look at how they stack. Look at all the lances. And down go the halberdiers in the blink of a freaking eye. Oh man, not only does he have the better unit, he's got the stack ability, he's got the numbers, and our Tatar is just in absolute control militarily of this game. A random bombard cannon. Where the hell did you think you were going? 2 bombard cannons here quivering in their boots. This is like that scene in Game of Thrones where they're attacking King's Landing and Joffrey and Cersei are hiding inside the throne room. Who will open the door? Will it be Tywin? Will it be, who was the other one attacking them? Oh, what the hell was the name of that Baratheon? Who was attacking him? Stannis. But no. Or am I thinking of a different... I'm thinking of the Battle of Blackwater Bay? Yeah, I think it's a Battle of Blackwater Bay where they were, my knowledge of Game of Thrones used to be very, very thorough and detailed. Then I stopped watching it once it was over, and now my knowledge is basically whatever the slot machine bonuses are in Vegas. That's what my knowledge of Game of Thrones is. So I think I think that was Blackwater Bay when Cersei and Joffrey were hiding inside, or maybe that was before Blackwater Bay. Blackwater Bay was when, anyway, it doesn't really matter. A second wave of... This is exactly what Mihai needs to keep on doing. He needs to keep on throwing meat at this grinder. And this is not a bad area. He needs to retreat just a little bit. Let your opponent, because right now your opponent is absolutely slaughtering you in yet another choke point, which is great for the bombard cannons, but terrible for these halberdiers. The halberdiers needed to retreat just a little bit. Let a few of these Step Lancers in, and then you can surround them. But that is not what happened. Step Lancer count is down to 44, so the progressive, successive, rather, waves of halberdiers is getting the job done here. They are fully upgraded. Mihai is going up to 151 villagers yet again. He's got a good amount of food, a good amount of gold. Is he planning on calling a revolution? To arms, he says. How many barracks does he have now? Now he's up to 12. No, maybe not. He's still at 9. He's constructing 3 more. I don't dislike this from Mihai. I think he wasted his paladins a little bit fighting these Step Lancers in really bad locations, but now that he's got the halberdiers, don't be gun shy. Immediately attack. There's no point in you having 200 population right now. Immediately go out, immediately attack, keep knocking the HP of these units down. It's down about 20%, 25%. Do not let this one monk heal up the entire army. Continue attacking. You've got 12 barracks. You've got even more on the way. I keep zooming out. I do apologize. 15, but where were these 15 like 10 minutes ago? I feel like Mihai is he's over relying on this castle here, adding any kind of DPS. I don't think it's going to add any DPS when these Step Lancers have 7 pierce armor. And oh, again, the halberdiers just melt. But look at this. They took a good amount of Step Lancers with them. but running now has full control of the map, which means he's got control of the spice, the gold, the stone. So these Step Lancer numbers are not going to go down anytime soon. He's even training petards. Okay. Does he have Timorous Siegecraft? Yes, he does. I wonder why he's training petards and not flaming camels, as the last of the castle falls and no more revolution for our Burgundian. Although he does have 672 stone, he can build another castle, and now the Step Lancers are in. The petards have blown a hole through the wall. This has turned from Game of Thrones to the Battle of Helm's Deep, as a wall gap has been created with an explosive orc, in this case a petard. And now Mihai's in a serious amount of trouble. An emergency castle going up. He's got the food for a revolution. I don't think he's got the gold at all. He needs to sell all of his wood. Maybe that's the plan. Maybe that's why he's got 6,000 wood. But the question is, will his opponent give him time? Oh, the Trebs are here. No! So freaking close. Why did Mihai not call the revolution when this castle was still up? He could have sold his wood. He's got 6,000 wood. I'm assuming that's for sale and not just because he likes to collect wood. 56 villagers on wood. Okay. It must absolutely be to sell them that lumber to Home Depot so that he can call a revolution. That's I mean, obviously a defensive castle is a defensive castle, but I think that's probably why he's rushing to get this castle. It might have done well to bring in a lot of more villagers here immediately. Where's his market? Oh, it's here in the back. So the market is safe. The relics are safe for now. But Mihai, oh, if he only had 40 more seconds, 30 more seconds, a minute. If he only had a little bit more time, if those damn petards had not blasted a hole through his wall, would he have been able to call a Flemish Revolution? I believe so. I don't know what the market price is for wood, but with 6,000 of it, he should be able to. Let's do the math real quick. At the end, he had 100, let's say 140 villagers to make it easy. So he needs 1,400 food plus 200 is 1,600, which he's got, basically. And then he needs 700 and 150 gold, which is 850. So yeah, he does not have that, but he does not even have stone to sell. That's why I'm wondering, why not sell your 670 stone earlier? Why not sell 6,000 of your wood earlier and call the revolution with this castle? Oh man, at the end of the day though, these Step Lancer numbers are just ridiculous. 67 going up to 73 Step Lancers, and they are just having the time of their life. They are just killing villagers. Each one of these dead villagers is a Flemish militiaman that has was stopped from being born. And so Looper style, he has gone back in time and killed them when they were just villagers. And now these 4 Trebs are going to absolutely demolish this castle. Although, maybe not. Maybe not. It looks like a few of them are still packing up. Or rather, unpacking. It looks like only one is firing. This one's done. So he'll get one volley off with all 4. If he... I mean, he's at... I don't know. The timing will be really tight. Flemish Revolution, not really a long upgrade to research. And so if he just brought a few more of these villagers into here and helped construct the castle, maybe he could have gotten it up before. Because this castle still has 6,000 HP. Right? And 4 Trebs, even 4 Trebs are going to have they're going to take him a while to take down a 6,000 HP castle. So if he can get this castle up, even if these guys get 3 volleys each, I don't think that's enough to take down this castle. Maybe even 4 volleys is not enough to take down the castle. And so he would have had time. Sell the wood, sell everything you can, get that revolution, and all of a sudden you've got 140 cavalry killing units. And by the way, your opponent's army is no longer in a death ball. 1 army group, 2 army group, 3 army group, and let's just call this all here to the north 4 army group, 4 or 5 army groups, which you can demolish one at a time. I believe the Flemish militia, if I'm not wrong, again, does come with 8 attack bonus against cavalry, but doesn't really matter. Running with the quicker attack here, busts down the wall, puts the pressure on Mihai. Mihai, again, if he only had 30 to 60 seconds more, could have potentially put up a better, stronger defense, could have held. Maybe this is a lot of Flemish militiamen here, but ultimately running was a little bit too fast for him, and down 40 supply, Mihai decides this is no longer a tenable situation. and taps out majority of halberdiers, majority of elite step lancers, peak APM towards the end. Actually, both of them within 5 minutes of each other, peak APM. So not bad. The economies here. Okay, only about 10% more for the Burgundian. Let's take a look at his gold count. Not terrible, only 1,200 down, even though he had 2,400 gold from the relics, which is what, if I do the math real quick, about a little under 1,600 extra gold. And so he's really down about 3,000 gold less mined, which is not surprising since running controlled the entirety of the map for the majority of the game. All the gold down here to the south is gone. This gold's being mined out. And I believe that is all she wrote for the gold. Then there's a bit of stone, which I guess can be used to sell. And, and Mihai's trebs also get caught out. I did not notice that here as well. So everything is just turning up shit for Mihai. And, yeah. Question for you. Do you think he should have called the revolution with the last castle that was up here? Or was it here? I don't remember. I think this was a barracks. I think the castle was up here. Should he have called the revolution then? Or was he right to wait a little bit more? It looked like he was very much interested in getting his villager population up. Because why the hell not? Conversion's not really playing any kind of a role. Let's take a look at the kill count here. 441 kills for those step lancers. 290 for the paladin halberdier combo. 107 villager kills. Oh my goodness. 32 by Mihai. And so ultimately, like I said, Mihai putting up a fantastic defense. A few issues that I have whenever anyone fights against a unit that stacks is taking fights in choke points, which Mihai did a few times. And anytime you take a fight in a choke point, I don't care if you've got a Frankish paladin, the unit that stacks is going to come out on top. I don't care if it's a Kamayuk, I don't care if it's a step lancer, I don't care what the hell it is. If it can stack, and if 30 of them can attack 10 of your units, the numbers in Age of Empires will always make sense, unless you're 10 or, Persian war elephants or Vietnamese war elephants. But in this case, they were Burgundian paladins missing bloodlines, so capped out at 160 HP. An absolute banger of a game. I'm glad we got to see paladins. I'm glad we got to see all of this various infrastructure as our Burgundian tried his darndest to stem the flow of these red absolute demolition units for a long time in a big massive death ball. And even though he threw successive wave after wave after wave of halberdiers, ultimately knocked down to only 23, I question why he built these barracks so late. Yeah, I think he had 15, so this definitely was a barracks. I think a bit of a contradiction to say it was definitely a barracks. I think one conveys certainty, one conveys doubt, but you guys know what I mean. Or maybe you don't, but in any event, my ramblings are about to come to an end because I think Mihai did an amazing job at trying to stop the tide here. And whenever your opponent has a death ball, you're not going to get it all at once, especially a unit like the Step Lancer, especially against a civ like the Burgundians that don't have heavy scorpions, for example, or siege engineers. So there's basic scorpions, which if they were, Khmer scorpions or Khmer scorpions or Celtic or even Mongol with the quicker movement, they could have done some good damage to those step lancers with a good meat shield. But unfortunately, Mihai did not have that option in this particular matchup. And so he did what he should have done. 30 halberdiers, 50 halberdiers, and just threw them at the Tatar endlessly until ultimately he was pushed back and our Tatar proved a little bit too powerful, busted his way. This was, I think, the pivotal moment as a running busted into this base orc style and absolutely began wreaking havoc with his various army groups all over the place. And ultimately, like I said, Mihai just lost his trebs, starting to lose his infrastructure. Definitely going to lose this castle eventually if he even gets it up, because these are two fully upgraded step lancers taking on just a handful of villagers, two of them already under attack. And Mihai says, you know what, enough is enough. I can't take any more punishment. I want to live to fight another day. Taps out. It is running. Our Tatar with that crazy step lancer death ball that takes the W, but GG to both players. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips and make sure to subscribe and enable notifications so that you're notified of my latest uploads.